What is up, everybody? It is AMSatellite, and today I'm finally, I say, here with the Garen versus Darius matchup video. And yeah, I'm really sorry for being this late. You guys have been asking for this for a huge amount of time, and the video was ready, and I was telling you guys it will be uploaded next week, and so on. But I never really ended up uploading it the week I wanted to because university and whatnot prevented me from being able to give you the commentary that you're listening to at this time. So let's just put this in order, all right? Because there's a lot to say about this matchup. There is a lot to deal with, and I am going to be fair with you guys. This matchup is a lot harder than it used to be before the Juggernaut rework. And I'm not exaggerating this. It's really gotten a lot harder because mostly just because of the Q heal that Darius got that gives him the heal that is really broken and turns trades on you really easily, which is one really good reason for being afraid of fighting with him. Now, as you can see, this is a huge mistake because I went in on him and he almost destroyed me. This Darius was bringing Ignite, so I flashed for my life because I wanted to try and live through the early game, which is ultimately what you really have to do. The early game is going to bully you really hard, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like if you wasted his Q like this, he wasted it. You can't think of going in with a Q then going out, but you can only do that in level 1 because once you get on level 2, it's going to have a lot more kill potential in you anyway. So you want to be careful and whatnot. So it's a hard matchup. It's harder than it was before, and it's going to be hard to win it because of the Q heal, as you can see. Now the way I grab the first kill in the lane is ridiculous. I just press F to get Ignite going, and I kill it with the first tick. It was a huge waste of a summoner spell. Matter of fact, I could have just abused the farm advantage that I could get, but at the end of the day, if you get a kill, it's always nice. So I just got it, and in fact, it was mad. Now, before we go really in depth about mechanics and build and whatnot and trades and all that, I just wanted to tell you guys that this friend of mine does play Darius. He did play Darius in ranked, and he does have a decent ratio. He's not the best Darius ever, but he was definitely not gifting me the game. This was a custom game, by the way, and you guys may think that custom games are fake or anything, but it's not true. Just because, as a matter of fact, and I don't know if you guys saw this. As a matter of fact, people try hard way more in custom games than they do in normals because they want to prove that they're better than you or whatnot. And this is personally the third or fourth person I beat as Garen because these colleagues from university really want to see me lose a lane, and they've managed to beat me sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but most of the lanes I win them without too much effort. So, using my main counter because Darius is your main counter right now is one of the best ways to possibly try to do that. So yeah. Now dodging his Q is let's get into the serious stuff now. The most important thing you want to do during the whole of laning phase, even if you're really ahead, is dodge his Q. If you dodge his Q, you get him rid of his sustain, so you get the advantage in terms of sustain. You get him rid of his damage, and you don't get a stack of his passive, so he doesn't prevent you from sustaining, which is important because you want to sustain. Sustaining lane is important, especially against Darius. So because if your health is too low, he can get ruthless and go with a real serious trade on you, and you don't want that. So yeah, as you can see, I'm gonna probably get pulled back in, and he gets 5 stacks on me, and now as you can see, I'm failing here. I don't know why I did this, but never go back when you have 5 stacks on you. When you have 5 stacks, get back. Actually, you should try to not let him get 5 stacks on you at all. But I was seeing myself able to trade with him because, as you can see, we were pretty much at the same health levels throughout these few clips. So I've played a little too aggressive, and he's going to punish me in a little bit. As you can see, he's going to kill me because I decided to trade with him with minion advantage, and he's going to pull me back in, put another stack on me, and Ignite, which is typical behavior for Darius players. You don't really have to be that skilled to do that. And by now, I don't have my advantage anymore. He actually has more farm than I do because he's able to zone me, and he thinks the lane is won. Now, lucky for us, and for you especially, Garen can still beat Darius even if he's at disadvantage because you have some mechanics, and this may sound weird for people who hate Garen, but Garen has the isolation mechanic on his E that is not only a high skill cap mechanic, It's also a really great tool to come back in lanes because you really increase your damage by a lot. It's hard to do because, you know, E is AoE and it's hard to isolate your enemy, but I would say this is a general tip, not just good for this matchup, but good for every matchup. Just abuse your E isolation mechanic, because when you abuse that, you get a huge advantage in trades, and, you know, you can really win lanes with it. So do abuse that in every lane you play, especially against Darius, because Darius has a much bigger damage output than you, and he has higher base tankiness because he gets 100 health per level, which is nowhere near your. I think you get around 72 per level. That's nowhere near that, because 100 is a lot of health per level, and he gets that amount. Well, you barely get 72 or something like that. So, you know, you're at a disadvantage in terms of damage and tankiness, which is, you know, base stats. But I think your kid is able to beat Darius's kid all day. So now, before we go really in depth yet again into the mechanics for trading, keep in mind that this video was recorded before the patch that nerfed Darius the axe width, meaning that the axe that trying to dodge his Q from going inside of the inner circle was a little harder back in the day when this video was recorded. Now it's a little easier, so you guys shouldn't really have too much trouble doing that. So now, as you can see, first up, there's two ways you can dodge his Q. As we said earlier, dodging his Q is the really key mechanic to win, and you're going to have to try to do that every time you can. So there's two ways you can dodge the Q. You can dodge it completely by going outside of the outer circle, like I'm trying to do. As you can see, I'm keeping myself outside of the outer circle. Or you can try to get inside of the inner circle so that it doesn't put the stacks of hemorrhage on you, and it doesn't heal, and the damage is significantly reduced. He's still going to stop you from having your passive up, and because he's going to probably chain an auto attack afterwards, he's also going to, you know, counter your sustain. But there's you know, a simple way to understand if you should try to dodge it from the outside or from the inside. Now, you should aim to dodge it on the outside in every case possible. It's always advantageous because you keep your sustain up, you prevent the stacks, and you don't even get the small amount of damage that it would deal by hitting you with this stick in the inner circle. But there's the situation, the general trade situation, like if you want to trade with him, is that you have to get close to him inside of the inner circle. What you can do, and this is an old tactic, by the way, to, you know, use to, you know, go inside of the inner circle with your E first, then use your Q last, so you silence him and he can't grab you back inside of his you know, attack range. It's important that you do this. So you always want to start trading with E, because if you start trading with Judgment with your E, you're going to deal damage, and he's going to deal damage to you. But if you turn on your shield, auto attack, then silence Darius, you're going to get out of the trade with more damage output and less stacks of hemorrhage for yourself. So you go in with E, you finish spinning, activate the shield when he's using his W, try to time it perfectly for that so you can dodge the damage from it. Then you use your Q, then you auto attack, Q, and get out of there. That's going to win you almost every trade. Now in this case you can see I used my Q first. That's because he was isolated from his minions and he didn't really have much on me, so I decided to go aggressive on him. And, you know, as you can see, I net myself a really easy kill. But in general, you always want to trade with E first. And there's another reason for that. It's not just that you can silence him, speed away to safety, and, you know, he's not going to be able to grab you back in to put more stacks onto you. It's also because your E makes you ignore collisions. This may sound stupid, but it's actually a matter of fact, is that if you're spinning, you can go literally inside of Darius, and you won't take the extra damage from the blade of his Q because you're inside of the inner circle. So when you go in, don't be afraid if he starts preparing the circle as you're spinning on him. Just go towards him. Don't use your Q before you stop spinning, or you're going to lose the speed buff that you need to run away from there. And you're going to make it through. I assure you, you're going to make it through. So you go with your E, you go inside you go towards him as close to him as you can, inside of him. And you're going to be able to, you know, manage. You're going to manage the trade out. That's really what you need to do when trading against him. Now let's go into the build, and if I get some more ideas as the video proceeds on how to beat him in trades, I'll probably, you know, integrate those. Building is relatively simple. Like, as a matter of fact, you're trying to get armor and health because he deals most of it. All of his damage is physical damage. He doesn't deal magic damage anymore. His passive now deals physical damage. The old passive used to deal magic damage, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. And as you can see, now I'm able to outtrade him like by a lot, and if you, as you can see, dodging his Q prevents him from stacking up his passive on you, and it's really advantageous for you. So you always want to do that. And so yeah, you should concentrate on get. Okay, so the first item you really want to get is a chain vest. That's going to boost your resistances. Now, when you get back into lane, matter of fact, it doesn't look like you really changed that much. But if you didn't have that, I assure you would probably die much faster because he has armor penetration and whatnot. And most Darius players would use offensive masteries, which give even more armor penetration passively to him. And you want to be able to counter that by having a little more stats to go with, or he's just going to be able to annihilate you in lane. Then you want to go get a Phage and Ninja Tabi. These two, the Ninja Tabi will prevent him from, dealing too much extra damage from its W. It will prevent his basic attacks from dealing too much damage. His basic attacks basically turn just into a tool for stacking up his passive and don't actually do damage that, they deal damage that is negligible. Especially because most Darius players will either build armor if they're losing lane against you, or they will build, a Black Cleaver first item, which doesn't really give that much attack damage at all. Meaning that his basic attacks are not really the mean of his the source of his power in trades. The source of his power in trades is his Q, and his passive. So like Ninja Tabi can really boost you in terms of what you can do. Now as you can see, missed his Q, so I am totally able to dive him. He ignites me, but I've got an armor. And armor is also going to allow you to dive if it's necessary. I would really recommend against it because diving Darius is not really the best idea in most cases because he can just grab you back in if if the dive doesn't go well, just go to grab you back in and make you take more tower damage, and then he's got all the damage output necessary to finish you off easily. So I would recommend against that, but there are situations like that one in which Darius was clearly at a disadvantage and I had a lot of health, my W was up, and he didn't have his Q healing. That you can dive him in that case, but really be careful in general. General suggestion is to be careful and only dive when you have the advantage necessary to do that. So yeah, once you get a Phage, a Ninja Tabi, and a Chain Vest, you can continue towards the Black Cleaver. Now I wouldn't recommend you get the Deadman's Blade as first item because sure, it does give you a little more mobility to get back in lane faster, gives you the empowered auto attack after the thing itself and all whatnot. So it's good. It's a good first item even against Darius, but I wouldn't really go too ham on armor because he gets armor penetration from his E, and if Darius is going to be smart, and it's what I usually do, he's going to put a couple of points in his E to counter the armor you got. This is a little bit of a BM recall I'm making there. I don't really do these things usually, but this guy's a friend of mine, so I knew he would understand. Instead, you can capitalize on health. Now, unfortunately, I've been following up the item changes that are being made in the PBE, and looks like the Black Cleaver is going to give us a lot less health, but it's going to give us more attack damage, and overall it's not really that big of a nerf. 100 health doesn't change it too much, but there's been a lot of item changes and whatnot, and the guide's going to need a lot of time to update. I will prepare for updating it as soon as the preseason comes out. I'll update it, and maybe it's going to take me, I don't know, maybe a week, but maybe even less, because like when I start writing the guide, it doesn't really take me long to write a lot of stuff because I have fun updating it. So I will have to work on that because there's going to be a lot of changes in preseason 6, and I want the guide to be completely up to date as fast as possible. Now, I would normally recommend against buying more health potions against Darius, in the top lane usually, because you have your passive, and post level 11 it's pretty strong. Like I normally only get 3 health potions before level 11, and then once I get level 11 I stop purchasing them. But this is the kind of situation in which you want to capitalize on health potions, because Darius, they're going to be useful not really for sustaining because you got your passive for that, but they are useful to mitigate the damage Darius's passive does. Because if you have a health potion up as you trade with Darius, you're going to be able to trade much better, because you're going to be able to tank a lot more damage than you would normally be able to do. And it's not like you use it afterwards, after his passive is gone. You have to use it while his passive is damaging you. While you're trading in the middle of battle, use that, you're going to get a big advantage. Now, as you can see, laning phase is pretty much over. I died once and got 4 kills, so I would really say I beat his ass. I have a lot more farm than I think we had roughly the same amount of farm overall, but I have 4 kills. That's a lot of gold. And I'm on a killing spree and whatnot, so I'm definitely at an advantage when compared to him, and I definitely won my lane, which is something you guys can see and do because most Darius players, no matter how good they are, they can build armor or build a Black Cleaver first item. Those are the two paths you'll see a Darius go. If they try to build the Trinity Force first item, they're probably just gonna lose the lane anyway. They get the Phage, so they get the first item that we all expect, but the amount of AD they get early will still be low. It's not like a Darius builds a fucking Infinity Edge first item or a Ravenous Hydra anymore. And if you find one of them, you're still going to win because new Darius doesn't really do that amazingly well with Ravenous Hydra, even though I still find it to be a pretty good item on him. So, most of the times Darius will either build defenses like you, or he's going to build a low amount of extra damage. In both cases, you're able to outtrade Darius by being smart. Now, as you can see, this guy finished his Deadman's Blade first, but it's useless because I have a Black Cleaver. So, the amount of armor the Deadman's Blade gives you is negligible when the enemies have the Black Cleaver, because it's going to be reduced by a lot, while opposed to like me, because it's not the same. Like the same doesn't apply on me because we get 30 armor and magic resist from our W, which is more armor. And even if they reduce even if the reduction is percentage based, it's still going to be like it's still not going to be as big as it is when you reduce someone else's armor, unless that's Malphite. Okay, so it's basically it's like if you build a Deadman's Plate, it's a better built item on Garen than on Darius because you have more armor to go with, and the armor shred that the Black Cleaver Darius can get is going to be negligible. That's important to keep in mind. But I still would recommend, once you get the Chain Vest and the Ninja Tabi, go for the Black Cleaver, because if you keep going defensively, Darius is just going to capitalize on his E, on his masteries and runes, and he may just destroy with the Black Cleaver if you don't get it. Well, if you get the Black Cleaver, you boost your damage, and your tankiness will increase over time thanks to your W's passive anyway. So there's no need for you to abuse defensive stats early, or at least it's not really great to do that against Darius, because with Darius, you need to be more careful. You need to be able to outtrade him, or he's going to ball you too hard and completely waste you like I don't know what. But you need to be able to trade with him. That's the point. Like, Darius is the kind of lane bully that people are really afraid to trade with most champions. But I tell you, as Garen, you have to trade with Darius after level 3 or 4, and you have to do it the way I told you, because that way you are able to win the trades relatively easily. Now, Darius might just understand that you're, going in with your E and silencing him afterwards, but there's not really that big of an amount of counterplay to that. Like, unless he has gotten flash up, silence is silence, and he won't be able to use abilities once you land it. So, unless he doesn't want to trade at all, or wants to just harass you down with his Q, he's going to have to take the trades, and you can win all of them. So, yeah. And I don't believe there's much else to say. Like, the rest of the build is relatively the same as usual. Like, you're gonna go with the Black Cleaver, then you're going to want to finish the Deadman's Blade and then get some magic resistance depending on your needs. Like, if the enemy mid laner is AP based, you can get a Spirit Visage. Now, if I'm not mistaken, oh right, they had Diana, right? Like, yeah, so they do have some AP damage, and I will get a Spirit Visage. And just so you guys know, in case you're not building a Spirit Visage because the enemy team is full AD, I recommend you get a Warmock's Armor to boost your passive, because I believe Garen's passive to be very strong, but if you capitalize on it and you upgrade it through 1 or 2 items, you're going to really get a big edge that you want to abuse. So yeah. And there's nothing much more I got to say about the matchup. Trading by going in with your E first and then using your Q to silence and speed away to safety is probably the best way to trade. As you saw, there are possible exceptions, but most of the times I would recommend you do what I say in this case, because it's just the easiest trade. You can try doing more stuff, but if you're just starting to learn Garen and you have the bad luck of meeting a Darius, I would recommend you really play it carefully, as I said, and not risk anything, because 1 kill or 2 kills can really put you at a huge disadvantage and make you lose the entire lane as well as the game. I wouldn't exclude you losing the game because of Darius' really high snowball potential that he can abuse on you, and I would really not recommend that you risk that. So as you can see, at this point I was tanky enough to just stay in the middle of the fight for so long, getting focused and still get a kill and get out alive. So yeah, if you get an advantage in lane against Darius, still be careful about him because he's still able to kill you in the mid-late game if he has the if he's not the villain, he might be able to kill you, but in general, I would still recommend you be careful because Darius is the kind of champion that doesn't really care about being behind. He's never really cared about being behind. I remember from before the patches, I've been playing Darius and Garen a lot, so I can tell you with the reason that's how it works. So yeah, and I guess that's pretty much all I had to say about the matchup. I'm not sure if there's anything else. Like I've talked about the build, I've talked about the level 1, which is basically if he misses his Q, you go in with your Q and then you get out. And don't trade a level 2, please don't, because if you trade a level 2 you're gonna die, 99% sure, especially if he's got ignite, because both if he gets his W or his E, he's gonna be able to put a lot of stacks into you, and you don't have your W's passive to tank it all, so you will lose so much health that you will make trading at level 3 and 4 impossible, and that's what you want to do, because in level 3 and 4 you can start trading seriously the way I told you earlier. So please don't waste your chances like that. Stay safe on level 2 and don't trade at all. So yeah, what else? So yeah, I told you how to trade with him and level, after level 3 and 4. I told you, well, getting kills is relative. There's one thing you want to keep in mind when you're trying to execute him, and that is that his Q heals him. So if you see he's preparing his Q to heal himself, hold on to your ultimate unless you get ignite, and he was ignited before he uses this Q. Because he's going to heal, and if he hits you, he heals up by a lot because it's based on the missing health. So I'm guessing you're trying to ult him when he's low on health. So if he's, it's based on missing health, and he's going to heal up, and screw you because it turns the trade on you, and you don't want that. Okay, so make sure if he's preparing his Q, you hold on to your ultimate and you see if the damage is high enough to kill him after he's healed up, or you're going to lose because once you use your ultimate, it's just going to turn around and capitalize on it because he's got his health back up, and it's not good. It's not good for you. All right, so try to be careful on that and make sure you don't waste your chances like that. As you can see, I had to flash, but I did manage to net a double kill there, because, diving Darren is never a good idea, honestly. Yeah, as you can see, by now I'm really tanky, because this was a hard matchup, but I came out victor and with a huge advantage, because I had 4 kills when I got out of lane, and around 106 farm, I think. So, it's not a huge amount of farm, but with the amount of kills I had, the gold was definitely there, and, my possibility to get kills were pretty high, so... and I got saved here by Lulu, thank God. This Lulu friend of mine, I think it was that Savior maybe. He's great with Lulu. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not him. I think it's that. Oh, it was Bradley. That's all right, whatever. But Lulu can save your life, so there's nothing new there. But yeah, that's basically it. I don't think there's much more to say about the matchup. It's hard. It's hard because Darius has a lot of damage. He has a lot of tankiness. He can turn trades on you with his Q heal. It's not an easy matchup. It was never an easy matchup. It was medium. Now I would, say it's hard because unless you're a very experienced Garen player, the first few games you played against the Darius, you probably fed. Just saying. So I hope this video is going to give you a hand at trying to, capitalize on his mistakes. And one concept, this is just a concept. There's nothing really new to say about the matchup. I think I exhausted the possibilities. There is an important concept of playing against Darius, and that is quote-unquote make no mistakes. And Darius says that. As a matter of fact, it is important that you don't make any mistakes, because if you make one mistake and the Darius player is good, he's going to capitalize on it. Where you can't really do anything about it because it's Darius, alright? Downright Darius. You can't do anything. He's great at abusing other top laners' mistakes because he's, one of the best bullies in the history of League of Legends. It's a matter of fact. It's not like I'm, making this gigantic for some reason. It's just how it is, alright? Darius is good at punishing mistakes. You're good too, but he's better. Meaning that he can allow himself to make a couple of more mistakes, and you will use those to slowly win trades, lower his health, and eventually win the lane. But he's better than you at punishing mistakes. So if you make one mistake, you can really screw your lane over, and you gotta be careful. It's really important. But the hard part is that yes, you gotta be careful, you gotta play defensive early, but you don't have to go passive. If you go passive, you're gonna lose. Because he's going to get the power he needs to dive you, and he's going to kill you anyway. So you have to trade, you have to fight. but you have to do it the way you need to win trades. That's what really has to happen. There's nothing much more. Like, it's all about it. It's all about this. Fight, but fight smartly. Win fights and, you know, put yourself into advantageous situation. Right now I'm legendary. Like, you can only get legendary at 16, or I don't think maybe it's 18. I can't really read properly right now. You can't be legendary at 16 or 18 minutes, or maybe it's 20. I'm not sure. I can't really. Oh, 25 minutes. All right. So yeah, now I finally read. So you know, the preview of the video as I commentate is very low because I use proxies and whatnot. So it was hard to read. So if you're legendary at 25 minutes, you're either playing an amazing mid game or you won your lane and snowballed it, because legendary is like the last, you know, compliment that the announcer gives you. So if you're legendary by then, it means you have a big advantage. So as you can see, Zed was really afraid of me for a good reason, of course, but in general, Zed isn't really that hard of a guy to destroy from you. So, and yeah, that was a mistake for me. I think I'm gonna die here, but it was a custom game ultimately, so I wasn't really try-harding so much. I'll pay this with my death, I think. Yeah, I get ulted by Zed and I'm dead. I try to... Now, this is one thing I'm finding myself doing a little more often lately, and that is when you do stupid things like those, well, in general, when you're about to die and you're fighting the enemy villain, the base damage on your ultimate is always true damage, so before you die, you can ult. So you can deal a little more damage to the enemy before you're gone, and maybe your friends can finish him off. And yeah, as you can see, that Zed was not fighting anymore, I believe. That's because, you know, I lowered his health a lot, so he's really unable to fight. And as you can see, he's not there. So yeah, that's one thing. That's one good thing you can do. If you're about to die and the villain is in range, you can ult them before you go, and you know, you deal damage that your enemies can capitalize on later on in the fight. So definitely do that, because true damage can't be reduced and whatnot. So yeah, and yeah, so it's just that, and it's weird to like say this, but it's true. You have to fight. I mean, it sounds like a contradiction, right? I'm telling you, be smart, play as safe as you can, but fight. It's basically, I'm telling you guys to win every trade, but I also told you how. I'm not like, you know, try to win trades. I'm not just telling that. I'm telling you, try to win trades by doing what I said. So do what I said, all right? I can't stress this out. If you trade the way I told you, it's impossible for you to lose trades, all right? You can't lose a trade because Darius is unable to deal the damage he needs to deal to you for, you know, winning it. That's basically it. You put him at a disadvantage by using defenses and silence in the right way. So, especially after level 8, once you get your second point in your queue, the speed boost is going to last for a little longer, and that's helpful. So, you can definitely use that to your advantage. And yeah. So I believe I'm done with the matchup. So as you can see by now, I'm really fed. I did a bullshit there in the shutdown, gave them free 500 gold just because I was BMing like that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I tryharded in laning phase because, you know, it's Darius, so you want to tryhard. Unless you want to lose, you have to tryhard. So. But I am not tryharding anymore in mid-late game. I'm just having fun, you know. I'm just trying to, as you can see, I'm just trying to kill him while there was Severe, the villain, right there. I'm just trying to kill him to make him mad and whatnot. So it's not much more I can give you guys from this game. Maybe there will be some more plays. I don't really remember because this game, as I said, was a long time ago, and I'm really sorry for being so late. You guys have been asking for that for weeks, and I promised you I would upload this video, but I'm sorry, but university is really a bitch, and lots of studying to do, lots of, you know, time to play and record and commentate is not really easy. This is a huge fail, by the way, diving like that, then I get pulled back in and I die just like that. But yeah, that was really bullshit there. I ulted the wrong person, got pulled back in and died just like that. So bullshit, really. That was a bad misplay. But yeah, in general, you know, it was still a custom game. It's not like I'm throwing a ranked or anything. And we will win this custom game anyway, so fear not. Now, I think we only have a few minutes left. We are about to win the game. Doesn't look like it, but I assure you things are going to, you know, get really intense in a little bit. And I wanted to let you guys know that I am going to create probably a Facebook page for the channel. A friend of mine has suggested me that I do that to, you know, keep the community in touch with me, and reduce the gap between me and you guys. It's something that I always cared about. Like, I always answer to comment, I always answer to private messages and whatnot. I always do that, and I do it because I find it nice that we can close the gap between the content producer and the viewer, and I care about it. I always cared about it because I think it's why YouTube is so funny, is because you get to get in touch with other people that share your interest. I've told you guys this a lot of times, but I believe that perhaps this friend of mine is right, and that by creating a Facebook page for the channel, I will be able to um, close the gap even further, and maybe make the interest in the channel grow up. Maybe I'm not entirely sure about that. It's not really my objective, but I'm really sure that it's not a bad idea. All right, so I'm probably gonna do that, and then we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So if it's going to be already, I'm not sure if it's going to be already ready on after this video's up, but if it is, you're going to see maybe an annotation on screen now, but go check the description of this video. If in the description there's a link to your Facebook page, that means that the page is open, obviously. So you can definitely go check it out, and you can use that to get more updates on the channel situation, if I'm going to upload a video, when I'm going to do that, what it's going to be and whatnot. And it's just a way to keep in touch a little easier, rather than just having to go check your sub box on YouTube and whatnot. So I know there are people who use Facebook and don't use it and don't use YouTube, and maybe you can share my videos with them too. There's just in general, there's a lot of possible things you can do with a Facebook page, and I've decided to just go for it because I can. So yeah. And well, the video is about to end, and I also told you guys all the information I wanted to let you guys know about the Facebook page and whatnot. Maybe I will create, I'm not entirely sure, maybe I'll create a Twitter account too. I'm not sure. All these YouTubers, most of the YouTubers you see now do have social media channels and what like that. And I don't know, I just never really felt the need for that, because I believe YouTube is a decent social platform, but again, there's people who don't use YouTube, don't have a YouTube channel, and would like to talk to me, or maybe give me an idea or whatnot, and maybe maybe they just need and maybe they can just do that through the Facebook page. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It is just something I wanted to do. Besides, we're getting closer to 4,000 subscribers, and I will try to do something special about it. I'm not sure if I'll manage, because university is a bitch, but I'll surely try. And channel is growing up, and I believe maybe I should try to get myself into the general situation most YouTubers are in. It's not like I believe I'm going to become one of the most important YouTubers ever, because that's probably not gonna happen, I'm guessing, but I'm having a lot of fun, and the amount of people who follow me is growing up, so I have to go on, and I have to bring the channel to the same level that is required for all this to work well. So I'm definitely going to do that. And yeah, before we finish this video off, there's one more thing that I want to let you guys know. That is basically I'm going to post a one for all Garen video as soon as I can. And this may sound weird, because one for all has been removed from live, because it's the period it was going to be available is finished. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to upload the video even though it was ready, because Movie Maker, which is what I use to make videos most of the times, screwed me over. And by screwed me over, I mean that what happened was the video for some reason wouldn't get processed, and that's a sad story, because I had worked on the montage and the music and whatnot. It was completely ready for upload, but nope. It won't upload because because Movie Maker just fucked me over. This never happened before. Like, it's the first time something like this happens, and yet I got screwed by it. So fucking hell. But yeah, as soon as I got some time, maybe a day off or university for something, for whatever reason, I will make the video, and I will make the video and from scratch in a new video editor that I'm probably going to purchase soon. And I'll upload it, because it was a really good concept. One for all is funny and whatnot. So yeah. And well, I really have to finish the video off, guys, because there's nothing more I've got to tell you. And there's, you know, there's nothing I got to tell you about the matchup. There's nothing I got to tell you about the build. We've talked about this pretty in depth. You know, I mostly just gave you one single tip for the specific matchup, which is trade with your E first and your Q later, and you know that applies in every case. But it's really all I can do. Like, you really want to, and as you can see, I'm trying move speed Garen right now just because it's funny, and it looks cool. Definitely looks cool. I'm like a car, so yeah, Garen is a car, hits like a truck, and whatever not. So yeah, tanks like a tank. So well, so that's pretty much it. Use the tips I gave you in this video properly, and try to be really careful and smart in fights with Darius and skirmishes with Darius. And I just want to let you guys know, if you get ganked and camped and you're against the Darius, you kind of are screwed, because Darius can really be dangerous if he gets ganked in his favor, and yeah, it's a bad deal, right? So yeah, and you know, it's just, I try to give you as much as I could, and I hope it's going to help you, and you know, I hope it's going to give you guys more possibilities to, you know, win against Darius and all that. So I really hope so. If you need any more tips, anything else, you can always write a comment in the comment section below, or maybe go on a Facebook page if it's open, and I'll be sure to let you guys know everything else you need to know to, you know, beat Darius, and anything to really, like, feel free to always comment in the videos, because I enjoy answering to comments, giving tips. So make sure you always do that. You can use the Facebook page if you want, and once it's going to be ready, you can do, you know, there's pretty much a lot of things we can do all together, and you know, we can enjoy ourselves as a community that I really hope is going to work, you know, as I've always dreamed. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for, you know, for all the feedback you've been leaving so far, and sorry for being late. I really hope I'll be able to, you know, get a schedule more seriously going, and I don't know, maybe manage my time against university a little more, you know, properly and whatnot. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Don't finish. Come on.
Go away!
Guys, I want to have a smash.